Who would have thought that the quiet, polite woman standing by the library shelves that day would become the lesson those students would never forget? Before I tell you what happened, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and stay till the end, because this story will change how you see people forever. It was the first week of the semester at Lincoln High. Students were restless, loud, and curious about the new teacher. Her name was Miss Clara Reynolds, soft-spoken, neat, always smiling. She was in her early 30s, wearing glasses and a simple cardigan. To most students, she looked harmless, the kind of teacher who wouldn't even raise her voice. But they didn't know who she really was. Clara had joined the school as a literature teacher, replacing an older professor who had retired. The students were used to bending rules, especially the senior boys who thought they ran the hallways. Among them was Ryan, the kind of kid who'd been told you can do anything too many times. His friends, Derek and Mason, followed his lead like shadows. They weren't evil kids, but they were reckless, the type who confused kindness with weakness. On a rainy Thursday afternoon, Clara stayed late in the library, preparing materials for the next class. The corridors were empty, the storm outside roaring against the windows. That's when Ryan and his group wandered in, laughing, tossing paper airplanes, and whispering about how the new teacher probably never left her books. When they saw her alone, they exchanged grins. Ryan smirked. "Let's have some fun," he said. They approached her table, pretending to ask questions about a project. But as she looked up, Derek stepped behind her, blocking the exit. Mason leaned on her desk, invading her space. "So, Miss Reynolds," Ryan said mockingly, "you like to stay late, huh? Grading all our amazing essays?" Clara looked up calmly. Her eyes, hidden behind her glasses, were steady, almost unreadable. "Yes," she said softly. "And some of you have potential, if only you'd focus more on your writing than on bothering teachers." That comment stung Ryan's pride. He stepped closer, his tone sharpening. "You think you can talk to us like that?" Mason reached out, trying to grab the notebook she was working on. But the next few seconds stunned everyone. In one fluid motion, so fast it didn't seem real, Clara pushed back her chair, twisted Mason's wrist, and had him face down on the table. Ryan froze. Derek's jaw dropped. The notebook she'd been writing in slipped from Mason's hand and landed with a soft thud. Her voice was calm but firm. "I don't appreciate being cornered. You'll all sit down right now." The boys obeyed, partly out of shock, partly because her tone wasn't just stern, it carried something deeper, something trained. Clara slowly released Mason's hand and stood tall. Ryan managed to speak. "Where'd you learn that?" Clara adjusted her glasses. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." For a moment, silence filled the library. The storm outside echoed like distant thunder. Then Ryan's gaze fell on her notebook. It had fallen open. He picked it up and froze. On one of the pages was a photograph, Clara in a military uniform, standing beside a squadron of soldiers. The caption read, "Captain Clara Reynolds, Special Operations Instructor, 12 years of service." Derek whispered, "She's military?" Clara smiled faintly. "Was. Now, I teach words instead of warfare. But some lessons stay the same: respect, discipline, and control." The boys didn't know what to say. The arrogance drained from their faces, replaced by shame. Ryan finally muttered, "We didn't mean," she interrupted gently, "I know. But meaning well doesn't erase actions. You crossed a line today. You'll help me clean this library, and maybe next time, you'll remember that everyone carries a story you don't see." The rest of the afternoon passed quietly. The three boys helped her organize books, pick up papers, and fix chairs. The silence between them wasn't awkward, it was humbling. By the time they finished, the storm had passed. As they left, Clara said, "Ryan, Mason, Derek, I expect to see you in class tomorrow. Not as troublemakers, but as young men who can be better." They nodded. Ryan hesitated at the door. "Miss Reynolds?" "Yes?" He swallowed. You're not like other teachers." Clara smiled, her eyes kind again. "Maybe not. but I believe in second chances even for the loudest voices in the room. That night, Ryan couldn't stop thinking about her. The photo, her calm strength, the way she didn't humiliate them but taught them instead. The next day, he walked into class early for the first time in years. Mason followed. Derek did too. Clara was writing something on the board, a quote, "Courage isn't about fighting. It's about standing up for what's right even when no one's watching." Ryan smiled faintly. He didn't know it then, but that day in the library changed him forever. Years later, when he joined the Army himself, he sent a letter back to Lincoln Hike addressed to Miss Clara Reynolds. It said simply, "Thanks for teaching me how real strength works." So if you're watching this right now, remember, never mistake kindness for weakness. Everyone has battles you know nothing about. And sometimes, the quietest person in the room has the loudest story to tell. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe, because stories like this remind us, respect is earned not through fear, but through understanding.